Good morning, everyone. I'm Logeshwaran. I am BCBUZZ Technologies Cybersecurity Analyst, and this is my cyberexperts.org Logeshwaran. It's my profile, and this is my LinkedIn profile. Today's topic is on WordPress installation and setup. Agenda. Introduction. What is WordPress? Prerequisites of installation. WordPress installation methods. Creating a secure admin account. Choosing themes and plugins safely. Why WordPress security matters. Basic security practices, protecting wp-config.php and file permission. Must have security plugins, SSL and HTTPS, preventing common attacks in WordPress sites, monitoring and security audits, secure WordPress development practices, and finally, Q&A session. First, who was developed on WordPress site? WordPress was developed in 2003 by Matt Mullenweg and Mike Little. In WordPress began as the fork of an earlier blocking software called B2 Catalog. How it started: WordPress plus block software plus B2 Catalog. Mike Little suggests continuing development of the abandoned project, and Matt Mullenweg joined and began actively developing a new platform in WordPress site. Together, they released the first version of on WordPress on May 27, 2003. In WordPress is an open source. That means thousands of developers worldwide now contribute to the development. But the original creators are Matt Mullenweg and Mike Little. Introduction. In most of the site, in 40% of one WordPress site only. High popularity and also high attack surface also in WordPress site. Most breaches happen during the misconfigurations in WordPress site. What you will learn: understanding WordPress architecture, setup, installation, processing step by step in mindsets, proper initial configuration practices, common security risks and attacks vectors, practical hardening techniques, and secure development principles. Definition. In WordPress is an open source content management system. In short form is an CMSS content. It was written in PHP, uses MySQL and MariaDB database also. It was run on Apache or Nginx web servers. In WordPress is one of the most widely used content management system in the world because of its very popularity. It is also one of the most targeted platform by attackers. WordPress itself, it's not insecure. Poor installation practices, weak credentials, outdated plugins and misconfigurations also created vulnerabilities. In this session, we will not just install WordPress. We will understand how it works internally, how attacker exploit it, and how to deploy it in a secure and professional manner. By the end of the webinar, you will have a clear understanding of how to move from basic installation to building a secure protection ready on WordPress environment. Why WordPress popular? WordPress is an easy to install and manage large ecosystem of plugins and themes also. It was flexible for any type of websites and strong community supports in the WordPress sites. Types of WordPress sites built in many types. First of all is on blocks. Second is on corporate websites, and third is on e-commerce stores, and fourth is on membership platforms, learning management systems, and custom web applications. First step is on domain name. Unique websites identity. You have first of all set up on the unique identity in the WordPress site. Should be registered within the trusted register also. Enable domain privacy protections. Second steps, hosting environment. You have hosting on any domains, GoDaddy, Hostingers, and also Infinity Free also. Wasn't shared hosting and virtual private servers managed WordPress hostings. Next is on PHP version. You have first of all setting on the current version of an PHP version. The current version is on 8:1 or 8:2 recommended on best of all. And second, on improved on performance, security patches also, avoid outdated PHP versions. And the WordPress is on open source content management. It was built on using PHP and MySQL. It run on the web server like Apache or Nginx and store all data inside the database. database in MySQL or MariaDB and strong database credentials. Next, and finally, unlimited remote access. Very important is an SSL certificates in WordPress sites. In SSL certificates, you want by first encrypt the data in a transit. Second one on prevent interception attacks. Third one on record for secure login and improve SEO ranking also. Hosting access. In hosting access, you will see that on cPanel to control on the PHPs and the Plex and SSH also. And second one on file manager. In file managers, you will see on the PHPs files and HT access. In many PHP files also, you will show that. And then database management. It was on one of the PHP MyAdmin content. Next, one-click installation. In one-click installation is an automated setup via hosting panel. For example, you have buy a domain in Hostinger or GoDaddy, you will directly develop on the browser side. It is an example of an one-click installations, pre-configured database creations, and automatic file extractions, quick deployment, minimal technicals also. And the one-click installation is a fast and convenient hosting providers automatically. Create the database, configure files, and set up WordPress within a minute. It is the beginner-friendly and save the time. When you use one-click installations, many configurations are handled automatically. You may not know how the database is named, what table prefix is used. In some cases, default settings may not follow best security practices. Manual installation. In manual installations, you have installed on the WordPress.org sites, install on WordPress applications, and you have login on the WordPress login pages and develop on manually in the WordPress sites. And you have an upload file on file manager, FTP, SSH, and third is on manually create database and configure wp-config.php and securely define custom database also credential. You can create on the themes and plugins also customized. And finally, run installation wizards. In the manual installation forces you to understand how WordPress actually works. You download the WordPress packages, upload it to your servers, create a database manually, and configure the WP config. It was very useful in manual installation. In manual installation is very secure. Uses strong custom database names, set a non-default table prefix, generate secure authentication salts, disable debugging in productions, and finally control file permission immediately also. WordPress setup steps. In first, set site title and tagline. Set title and tagline is this look harmless, but many people unintentionally expose internal information like company names, server, environment labels also, or project names. Attackers use small details to profile targets. Keep it clean and professional. And next, configure time zone, language, date format. Next, time zone and language. This is the important for accurate logs. If your time zone is wrong, security logs before confusing, and during incident response, wrong timestamp and waste time causes mistakes. And third, set permalinks. It was on post names. Changing permalinks to post name is mainly for SEO and clean URLs, but it's also improve consistencies. A well-structured URL setup make it easier to monitor traffic patterns and direct. It was on direct on the suspicious access attempts in logs also. And also remove unused themes. You have one WordPress is on the unused themes. It's on very older versions themes also you have remove it, and configure discussion settings. Set user registration policies. You have created on the user registration and admin access also created. Secure admin accounts. Never use admin or usernames. Use strong password, maximum in on 12 plus characters and special characters also. Avoid dictionary words and personal info. In dictionary words you used, the attacker was easy to brute force on the passwords and the usernames. and enable two-factor authentications and limit number of administrator accounts, apply least privilege principles, and disable public user registration. In the most WordPress compromise do not happen because of the advanced hacking techniques. They happen because weak credential. Let's start with an username. Using admin as the username reduce the attacker job by 50%. In a brute force attack, if the attacker already known the username, they only need to guess the password only. That significantly increases their success rate. So the first rule is simple. Never use predictable usernames. Now let's talk about passwords. A strong password is not just a long, it must include uppercase and lowercase letters also, and also include numbers, special characters. Avoid personal information like name, company, or date of birth. Attacker used automated tools with millions of passwords combinations per minute. Weak passwords can be cracked within a seconds. That's why we recommended at least maximum of 12 to 16 characters will be on full complexity. Next, two-factor authentication. Let's explain on two-factor authentication. Even if somehow get your passwords on 2FA, add some additional verification layers like a code sent to your phone or generated by an authenticator app. This dramatically reduces the risk of an unauthorized access also. Now let's discuss on administrator accounts. Every admin account is a high value target. If you create a multiple admin users unnecessarily, you increase the attack surface also heavy. Follow the principle of least privileges. Only give admin access to people who truly need full control. Editors should not have admin rights. Contributors should not have upload privilege if not necessary. In favor high privilege accounts, you have the lower your risk. So when I say must WordPress hacks happen because of the weak credentials. Attackers don't always break in the login. Install only from a trusted source. In official WordPress repository, reputable marketplaces, you have any reputable marketplaces on Themes, Forest, or Code Canyon, MariaDB in any other marketplaces. And developers verify the websites and install the trusted source in the WordPress also. Before installing, to check last update date, recently maintained, and compatibility work with current WordPress versions also. Before installing any plugins, what is updated recently is it is compatible with the current WordPress versions. Does it have good reviews? How many active installation does it have? Does the developer provide supports in the WordPress sites? In compatibility, work with current WordPress versions. And third is on review and rating. In you have a high security patches in the WordPress site, some security complaints not needed. And active installations, while used plugins are more received. And finally, support availability. If the developer responsive is on support in the final on any customer supports. Common WordPress threats. Many common WordPress threats on brute force attacks, on malware injections, and SQL injections, cross-site scriptings, vulnerable plugins and themes, file upload exploit, and privilege escalation. First, brute force attack. WordPress powers a huge percentage of the internet. That makes it primary target from an automated attacks only. In brute force attacks, attackers use automated bots to repeatedly attempt login combination of WP login pages. In WP login pages is on file manager's place to on inside the PHP file. These bots try thousands of usernames and passwords combination per minute. If weak credential exists, access is gained without exploiting any technical vulnerability. And second, malware injections. In malware injection, if an attacker gain access through weak credential, a vulnerable plugin or outdated PHP, they can inject malicious code into theme files, plugins, or database also. An attacker will be inject any PHP files on the any places or themes or plugins and database also. And third is an SQL injection. On SQL injection, WordPress relies heavily on database queries. If a plugin does not properly sanitize user input, an attacker can manipulate SQL queries in the username and password login pages. It was an extract sensitive data, modify any database records, create admin accounts also, and even delete contents also. In SQL injection, it's totally compromise your systems. And next, cross-site scripting. If user input is not escaped properly, if user input is not escaped properly, attacker can inject malicious scripts into form commands or URL parameters. When another user visits the pages, the malicious script executes in the browser. This can steal session cookies and redirect users, deface the websites, perform actions on behalf of logged in users. And then vulnerable plugins and themes. If you have any installed on the older versions plugins and themes, it was very vulnerable in the WordPress sites. It was very dangerous in WordPress sites also. In file upload exploitation, the attacker will be try to file my FTP access in the systems. They have access the file manager to implement the any PHP vulnerable file to compromise the system and privilege escalations also. What is wp-config.php? In wp-config, it was a core configuration file, store database credentials, contain authentication salts, define security constraints, control debugging settings also. In wp-config.php is one of the most critical file in the WordPress installation. It contains database names and database usernames, database passwords, and database codes, authentication keys and salts, and also debug the settings. If an attacker gain access in the file, they gain direct access to your database. And once the database is compromised, the entire site also compromised. So they can extract user data, change admin passwords, insert malicious codes, delete content, create hidden backdoor accounts. That is why protecting wp-config.php is not optional. And security plugin acts as an additional defensive layer on top of the WordPress installations to be protected on the contained database username and passwords. In full database access also exposed on the control site level also security settings in critical target during exploitations. In additional hardening. In additional hardening is on the disable file editing in dashboards. You have disabled the file editing in on any other adminers. You have set up only change the editor in any users and move wp-config.php above public root and restrict the direct access via .hd access. In the wp-config.php will be an implemented on the .hd access. Recommended security plugins. You have this three is on very high security in the WordPress security plugins. First of all, WordPress. Second, security, and third is on iTheme security. And on the security features, first one use on the web applications firewall. A firewall filter incoming traffic before it reaches your WordPress applications. Think of its security guard at the entrance when a request comes to your websites. For example, a login attempts, a form submission, a suspicious URL parameters also. The firewall analyzes the requests. If the request matches known attacker patterns such as SQL injections attempts or the cross-site scriptings in payloads and or brute force behavior, it blocks the request before the WordPress process it. It was on the web application process. And second is on the malware scanning. Security plugins scan your WordPress files and compare them against known malicious signatures also. And they detected modified core files and the suspicious PHP code also. And here one hidden backdoor and unauthorized file changes. Some plugins also scan your database for injected scripts. So malware scanning is very important in the WordPress sites. Third is on login protections. Login protections, and you have set up on the limit login attempts, block repeated failed logins, and also detect bot behavior, enforce strong password policies, support two-factor authentications. In the login protections, it was a very important steps in the WordPress sites to developing. This dramatically reduces brute force success also, and some brute force and file integrity monitoring. You have an implement the any monitoring plugins. They have an regularly monitoring in on the file integrity in any attackers or any users will be on any vulnerable PHP files and any injected in the sites. They have a regularly monitoring and the integrating of the file integrity monitoring. and security activity logs. In the logs, the security will be on the very important logs of and security. And finally, IP blocking and rate limiting. In the attacker will be an a try on the anytime on the login pages, it was on blocking the IP blocking and also rate limiting SSL HTTPS. In SSL is on the very SSL and TLS encrypts communication between client and servers. And the HTTPS equal to HTTP over secure. And the HTTP is only on the very secure. In HTTP you have an user on the site, they have an decrypted the any username and password also, and uses digital certificates for authentications. When your sites run on the HTTP, all communications between the user's browsers and your server is transmitted in plain text. That means login usernames, passwords, form data, session cookies, personal information. Also, attacker will be taken in the immediately. All of it can be intercepted if someone isn't monitoring the network. When a user visit your site using HTTPS, the data exchange is encrypted before the transmissions. Even if someone intercepts the traffic, they cannot read it without the encryption key. So uses the digital certificates for authentications. Very important in HTTPS in TLS certificates. Criticals of HTTPs. In encrypts login credentials, protect from submissions, and secure session cookies, prevents data interceptions, build user trust, record for SEO rankings. It was very critical. In login credential encrypts, you are using on the HTTP, they have an HTTPS, they have an encrypted login credential and protect from submissions data in files and any clients sites also. And the secure session cookies. In any attacker will try to one cookie editor to capture the cookies, they have an protect the secure session cookies also, prevent data interceptions and build user trust. In user trust, the WordPress site is very trusted in the WordPress developing to develop, and any attacker will be not attack the WordPress sites and record for SEO ranking also. Reduce automates attacks. First, limit login attempts. It was on rate limiting. By default, WordPress allow unlimited login attempts. That is a gift to brute force attack bots or the attackers. It was on very easy to the attacker was on brute force attack. A bot can try thousands of passwords combination continuously. Even the strong password become a risk if attacker are allowed infinite tries. Limit login attempts adds rate limiting. After multiple failures, the IP is temporarily blocked. Attack speed reduces dramatically, and the brute force becomes inefficient also. And second is an enable captcha on login and forms. First, for example, you have an login in an username and passwords, and to implement on the captchas, and it was on robot access to and the click on the enable the captchas. Captchas is not about security for humans. It about logging automations also. Bots can camera login pages and registration pages, password reset pages, and contact forms. CAPTCHA forces a human verification steps which break automated scripts also. CAPTCHA also reduced form spam, fake registrations, password reset abuse also. And blocking suspicious IPs and regions. In attackers will be try to on any VPN source to and try the block on the IP to on the any regions. In attacker will be in the India to any other sites, regions, they have an blocking on the suspicious alert also. Remove unnecessary exposures. First, disable directory browsing. If directory browsing is enabled, visitors can list file inside all folders. For example, they might discover on the any backup files, upload folders, plugin directories, misplaced sensitive files also. Even if they can't download everything, file listing gives attack information. And information isn't power. So disabling directory browsing prevents unnecessary visibility in your server structures. Next, disable XML RPC. In an XML RPC is an older WordPress features used for remote publishing and some integration. It was a very old WordPress features. The problem is attacker abused the XML RPC. It can be used for brute force amplification in a multiple login attempts in a single request. And second on DOS attack style abuse, and third is on exploiting weak authentication logics, older steps also. If your website does not need XML RPC, disassembling it remove a common attack entry point. Very very important is on XML RPC is on disassemble, and it was on very old WordPress features. Change login URL. Attacker commonly targeted on the WP login pages and WP admin. In WP login pages, it was on the attacker will be an access on the any FTP access. They have injected using on the FileZilla tool to implement the IP address, or also attacker username and password to access the file manager in our FileZilla applications. They are using on the WP login.php and open the browser, and they have implemented any PHP files. For example, on cross-site scriptings, SQL injections, and the system takeovering any other process also. They have injected the malware codes also injected in the PHP files. And next attempt to on WP admin. In WP admin is was an username and password. So you have an implement the username and password not at all on dictionary words. No, you have used it, and also you have not on your personal information also set up not set on the username and password. You have set up on the different words in the username and passwords, and suggest on the very important for a password in the WordPress. Very secure password and strongest password you will then set the WP admin page. Changing the login URL does not replace real security control, but it reduces noise. It helps because bot often hit default login paths automatically. Changing it reduces automated scans and brute force attempts. It makes your site less predictable to generic bots. This is not security by itself, but it's an attacker surface reductions. Continue monitoring controls. In continuary monitoring, is an enable activity logs, user and admin actions, and the monitor file integrity changes, track failed login attempts, detect new admin account creations, monitor plugin themes changes. In enable activity logs, activity logs record an action taken inside your WordPress dashboard. For example, who logged in the WordPress site, from which IP address also, when was the plugin in, what plugin will be on inject what plugin will be on installed in the WordPress site, when was the new admin account created, when we are setting changes. Without logs, if your site is compromised, you won't know what it happened, how it happened, who did it. Logs gives you visibility. Security without visibility is blind trust. Next on monitor file integrity changes. WordPress code files should not change frequently. If a theme file is modified unexpectedly also, a plugin file changes without an update, a few PHP file appears in the uploads folders, that's the suspicious. File integrity monitoring compares current file to known clean versions and alerts you if something changes. Many malware attacks silently inject the malicious codes in the PHP files into themes files. If you don't monitor file integrity, you may never notice. Regular backups. That's very important. Backups are your recovery plan. Even if malware infected your sites, ransomware encrypt your files, and update break your sites, a developer accidentally deletes data. Backups allow you to restore your site quickly. But here the mistake many people make, they create backups but never test restorations. A backup that cannot be restored is useless. You must periodically test recovery. Maintain security routines. In security routines, they have maintained the regular attempt backups, perform vulnerability scans, review update notifications. They have an regularly view on the regularly updating notifications and test backup restoration, monitor update and performance alerts. In already say you have an injected the malware monitoring scan plugins, they have an regularly monitoring up to time. Any what will be on login and what will be on install the plugins and what will be on any changes. They have an implement the securing on the monitor uptime and performance alerts. Secure coding fundamentals. Sanitize all users' inputs and escape all output properly. Use nonsense for form verifications. Validate and enforce user capabilities. Follow the least privilege principles. Avoid hard-coded credential or API keys. Changes default database table fixes. I already say the regular automated backups. In regular automated backups, you have an recovery the plans even if the malware infect your sites and ransomware encrypts your files also. The update breaks your sites. A developer accidentally delete data. Backups allow you to restore your site quickly. But here's the mistake many people make. They create backups. And next is on the vulnerability scan. Secure plugins and scanner check for an outdated components, known plugin vulnerability, weak configuration, suspicious patterns. This helps identify risk before attackers exploit it. Think of it like a health check for your websites. Uptime monitoring. In monitoring, if your website suddenly goes offline, gets redirected or loads suspicious contents, uptime monitoring tools will be notified and immediately alert from your developer sites. Early detection reduces damages times. The longer and breaches goes unnoticed, the more damages occurs. And on sanitize all user inputs. In sanitize user inputs, any data coming from on forms, URL parameters, search fields, commands, API requests also must be treated as untrusted. If input it's not sanitized, attacker can inject SQL queries, JavaScript payloads, malicious HTML, file upload exploits in the sanitizing input cleaning before processing. In WordPress functions like sanitize text fields, int wall, escape URL draw also using on the WordPress functions. Help remove malicious characters. These three commands will be on help to remove the malicious characters. Never trust user input ever. And the second one on escape all output properly. Sanitizing input is not enough. When displaying data back to user, you must escape it. Escaping ensures that HTML is not executed, JavaScript is not injected, data is treated as plain text. WordPress provides functions like an escape-html, escape utter, escape URL. It prevents on cross-site scripting attacks. Many developers sanitize but forgot to escape output. That's a mistake. Use a nonce for form verifications. A nonce is a security token used to verify that a request is legitimate. Without nonce, attacker can perform on cross-site scripting CSRF attacks and cross-site request forgery attacks. Example, for an example, if I logged in an admin visiting a malicious site, that site could silently send a request to on WordPress to create a new admin user. Nonces prevent this by verifying that the request originated from your site. If the nonce is invalid, the request is rejected. And follow least privilege principles. Validate and enforce user capability also and follow the least privilege principles. In user should only have an permissions necessary for their role. Editors should not install plugins. Contributors should not manage users. Subscribers should not access admin panel. If an account is on compromise, limited privilege reduce damage. The more power you give user, the bigger the risks. Then avoid hard-coded credential or API keys. Never store API keys, database passwords, secret tokens. Run directly inside themes or plugin files. Hard-coded secret keys they have and be exposed to the backups, be leaked to the Git repositories, be accessed in the files or compromised. It was use environmental variable or secure configuration storage. And changes default database table prefix. By default, WordPress uses WP as the table prefix. An attacker know this. It was an SQL injection acquires predictable data names makes exploitation easily. Changes the prefix adds an additional layer of unpredictability, if not complete protection, but it reduces automated exploitations also. We learned today that security starts before installation, the hosting and the infrastructure levels also. We saw how default settings can increase risk and weak credential led to compromise and blocking increases attack surface and HTTP is an mandatory and monitoring is an essential. Securing code prevent their future vulnerability. Security is not about installing one plugin and forgetting about it. It is a continuous process. Install properly, configured carefully, and updated regularly. Secure productively and on the monitor continuously. In wrap and resource, install WordPress with security in mind. You have and first of all, the developer will be on implement on the security in the very important in the WordPress sites. Second is on configure default setting responsible and keep core plugins and theme updated. You have an updated themes and plugins and the regularly check on the recent latest versions, not at all on set on the older version. It wasn't very weak for on WordPress sites. It wasn't reduce attack surface proactively, monitor activity and respond quickly, follow secure development practices. If you ignore maintenance for the months, your site slowly become weaker. If you follow disciplined security practices, your WordPress environment become a resilience. Finally, I encourage you to continue learning through the official WordPress documentation, understand how the system works internally. Security plugin documents, understand how the features protects you. And brother, web security concepts like an OWASP top 10 so you understand common attack patterns. Security mindsets. You have a person security is and process and not at a one-time setup. It was regularly updated on the WordPress securities. And you are also developing on the very security mindset. You haven't developed the WordPress site. And prevention, next as and detection and recovery. It was a complete protection in the security minds and minimal exposure reduce risks. Resources. WordPress official websites is on wordpress.org. It was on manual site to and develop on the wordpress.org to and install the applications and WordPress developer and documented the WordPress installations and setups. Official documents often security plugins used. And also an OWASP top 10 is for deeper understanding of web risks also. This goal is not just to build the websites. The goal is to build a secure, reliable and professional web systems. So finally we have an go on the practical session on live. First, you have developed the WordPress sites in a website, set up hosting and domains. First of all, you have any hostinger or hodad to buy a domain, and next you have go on the script installer to install the WordPress site and the initial configurations and install essential plugins. You have plugins and some latest plugins will be updated to install the plugins. And next one, choose a customized themes or default themes also set up and create the pages. Next, so create a navigation menu. You have any navigation menu also set up and contact form setups in your contacts, emails, LinkedIn profiles, or any GitHub and your Instagram accounts also you have set up on the contact form setups. And third is on security hardening. It's a very important. You have set up under security hardening and on developer mindset. Very important. And install essential plugins and final testings pages. Now finally the page is ready. You have any free domain you have buy. You have go to the infinity free to have buy a free domain on the WordPress sites and have free and paid also and Hostinger and GoDaddy also. When you have any advanced plugins, you have used these commands. And then https wordpress.org and plugins give this was on plugins names and it was an advanced. In advanced means you have a view on the advanced views and download the older versions to latest version plugins. Website sites name is there. Now we have going to the practical session to how to install a WordPress installation and setup in the live to develop on WordPress sites. In first, you go on the any free domain. You have choose on the infinity free. You go on the infinity free, and now click on the infinity free website hostings. Next, you haven't registered first on any new users in the infinity free. You have first registered and login the pages. Go and login the infinity free site. Now I am logging the infinity free, and now I have create account or create account, and it was on any you haven't paid. You have an user on the star premium, super premium, ultimate premium also. Now I have created on the free sites on 0 and create. Now click. Next, you have give a name on any domain names. The cyber tech I have and put it on the domain name, and you can choose on any domain extensions. I'll choose on the infinity free. Now check availability in cybertech. Yes, the account label is on the website for cybertech.infinity.free.me. It was available on the site. Now we have and set on the automated passwords I haven't set. Next you have an you have an it wasn't very strongest password and you have an any other password you have an changes it wasn't any creating your own password also. Now next you have approved your email address and I do not approve. I haven't approved my email consent. Now create account. Okay. The domain is on setting up few minutes. Okay, they have a very slow. It's coming on. Okay, now our domain name is cybertech.infinityfree.me. Now you are go on the WordPress. This one I installed on the script installer. And it was on website builder. It was on script installer and the file manager also. Now you click on the script installer. Next, you will be on download the install the WordPress. Next, you want to choose on the current version WordPress site 6.9 and create a username. I have put in on my username in my email ID and next you have an admin passwords. Okay, next. And finally we have select a language and English and you have set on the installed. Now the WordPress will be an installing process. Finally the WordPress was installed and successfully. Okay, return to on WordPress management. Now we have open on the this was an infinity free, but already I have an buy on the hostinger domain and that's name is on space. And this the WordPress will be an installation. You have go on your domain name. Now it was on domain name. We have an set up on the WP hyphen admin to use on the admin login page. Now you have the username and password. It wasn't very important. You have an your personal data and set up on the username and password. The attacker will be an brute force the EC2 implement the login pages to take over the WordPress site. Next, now you want give your username and password to login. Now it was on default plugins and themes also installed. Now you have go on the plugins and install plugins. You have a select all plugins. In select all plugins. You have a set up and deactivate and apply. Okay, all plugins will be on deactivated. Now reselect all plugins and also delete. Okay. Now the all plugins will be on deleted. Next, we are going on the themes. The themes they have also default themes also in here. You have to delete the all themes. and delete these themes. So you can also delete these themes. Next, first we will want to explain on the full this dashboard pages. In dashboard pages, we have home pages and updates. This will be on show on your updated plugins and any updated themes and any will be on see that the updated page. Next, posts. We have an setup on the all post, add new and categories tags also. You have create any post will be on that. And next will be on media. Add any media library in your word in your browser videos and any important pictures also you have an add the media library. Next, pages. You have created on the extra pages in you have already set up on the over three pages they have moved from on the another pages also you have created and comments. This was on comments pages. This was an appearance and the plugins and then user. It was an user first you have go on the already in on users first. Go on the add new and first you create any username. For username it was on set up on pentester. Now create any email ID. Okay. You want to set the name and also not at the passwords. Hide. You want to set any passwords. First I have created on the very low level password. So you have click on the add users and you have created on the administrator page and also created the add new users. Okay, and also the pen tester page also administrator page in these sites. And many users have created these sites. Now you have and give donor, give worker, and give accountant. It was an accountant access only and the WordPress manager access, and on blocked access and on spectator. And very important this on last 5 only and subscriber, contributed, author, editor, administration. In administration is an all access and very head in the WordPress sites. Now it's on tools. We will say we will import the any tools also in these sites. For example, on WooCommerce sites and WordPress also sites will be installed now. And also you have download on the any sites to on the tools and you export these sites and site health. We have see on your WordPress site health. Okay, now we will be created on the on WordPress sites in high secure. First of all, you have choose on the plugins. Now go on the plugins and install the plugin, add new plugins. Okay. Create on the add new plugins. First of all, you have a creator on the first plugin on very security plugin is very important. Okay. Now you have a search on the security. And security plugins are many very important. So we have I have a WordPress. In WordPress security, so I have installed. Next. Next we will be on light speed. It was on page speed plugins. So you have created on the light speed catch also. And next, you have any cybersecurity related products will be on developing this site. You have created on the commerce plugins also. Have installed any commerce plugins. Okay. And we have an use on the Elementor. In Elementor is a very useful to one page filter plugin on this was an okay. Now you use on the Royal Elementor. Okay, now you have and see that installed plugin pages. Okay, I have installed on 4 plugins. Now all are give all select and activate these plugins. Apply. Okay, the site will be unloading. Okay, the plugins will be on activated on the all plugins will be unactivated. Next, we go on the themes. Appearance go and go on the themes. Okay, now add any themes. In most of the beginner of the WordPress developer will be and give a use on the Astra themes. It was a very uh, beginner friendly for on WordPress themes also. And we have an use on the another WordPress site is on general general press also. Okay, now we have an search on the any AI related themes. Okay, many themes are there AI related. So now we have an choose this theme. Um, next. Any AI related. Okay, now we have installed this sites. Okay, they have installed. Now we want to see on the plugin is also installed in that they have also on the dashboard side. Have on WordPress light speed catch and light speed catches and the page will be on reload in 5 seconds. They have an open on the pages. Now we have an activate the page. Okay, now we have an check on the WordPress site. Yes. Okay, now the WordPress site will be on themes will be uninstalled. Now you have any customize, you have and go on the customizing this theme, and it was on head recommended plugin also install now. Okay, install. Yes, we have installed on Royal Elementor also. Next installed on WooCommerce. Okay, next. You haven't edited any this sites on WordPress site. Now you haven't edit this. You haven't changed the title also. Cybersecurity in AI. Next. You haven't now you haven't click on the publish. Okay, now changes under cybersecurity in AI. Next. You have go on the colors. You have change on the any colors also. Okay. Now you haven't set on the okay. Next. It was on very important. It was on Cyra.logest.bcb on March 2026. It was on latest news. You have on later on the contact pages also and on the any user pages also. We have an add on the additional CSS homepage settings also and widgets also and menu and background images also set. Next, we will go on the any YouTube video also set up on the WordPress sites. Okay, now we will go on the pages, posts, and new post. You want to click on the blocks and search any. You have any galleries or images and also YouTube also. Okay, next you have a search on the YouTube. BCBUZZ Technology. Okay, now you have and select any link also. Now you have select this link and copy that link. Next, you have and put it on the this YouTube link. Okay, now the WordPress sites you have and show on the any YouTube videos also these sites and also upload the any videos in your PC and uploading on the these sites. Okay, next we will be go on the another sites. Okay, we will be and check on the site health also. We have our site health is sunsets. Okay, you haven't see your site health. It's on WordPress. It wasn't should be improved. So many time to take over the high secure plugins to set up all the WordPress site. They have and site health is and good or excellent. They have and so. Okay, next we saw on the file managers in the WordPress site. Okay, now you have a check on the three sites. Now you go on. It was on file manager site. So you have any PHP files are on own customized themes or plugins. You have an add to these sites, and that was on cPanel. And cPanels you can see on the caches and data stores and return page patches also. And next on caches. In caches we have see and the regular updated you have and stored on this file systems. This is some HT docs. In HT docs in .ht access you have and see all PHP files. In attacker any you have an injector on the PHP file. They have and use this PHP file to any cross-site scripting or SQL injection queries have an implemented in the PHP files. Okay, finally the site will be on run. Okay, we have one. Choose from the now open the WordPress. Okay, the themes and plugins will be on implement these sites. Now the WordPress installation and setup will be on completed. There you have an use on the any WordPress plugins in an older version or advanced version. You have used this links and download the older version plugins also. Any question and answer? And it was on BCBUZZ WhatsApp channels. And finally, thank you. Thank you for my first session. It was on say that on WordPress installation setup has completed. Thank you.